I finally got around to sorting out the book box. This is The Basement Sellout. Now, on a previous episode, we had a look at all these Disney Adventures magazines, but there were other things in the box as well. For example, there were all of these Pokemon comic books that were in the box. In addition, I found these Pokemon trading card magazines that were here, but there was also other books too, like Is It Harmful or Is It Healthy by Reader's Digest. And I couldn't help but laugh a little bit when I looked in the back. It said, one day you hear something is bad for you, and a month later studies show it actually has some beneficial effects. More and more Canadians are bombarded with confusing and often conflicting information. Now I know this is an old book from the 90s, but it sure sounds ahead of its time. Now, in a previous episode, I did decide to sell the Disney Adventures magazines, so some decisions have already been made. But here I had the Pokemon comic books, and I didn't really know what to make of these. I remember I picked them up, of course, when I was a kid, but these were ones that I bought at the store. There wasn't really a lot of Pokemon merchandise available, sort of, in the early Pokemon times, and this was one that I kind of came into at the store one day and picked up. It's all black and white on the inside, like it's not of incredibly high quality, but I do gather that these things are sometimes interesting to collectors, so we'll hang on to that. There was also this Pokemon card magazine, and it had an index, of course, of the cards, but also this ad for a Pokedex. Now, I didn't have a Pokedex, so I made my own Pokedex, and sure enough, that was in the box as well. So I guess this was I was not a very crafty kid, but this was one of the crafts that I came up with so that I could have my own Pokedex and have different Pokemon pop up in it. Now, of course, the craft is not worth anything, but the box used to have a chocolate truffle cake that was worth $18, so it was a pretty big deal. I also found this book, which was Pokemon Made Simple, which was a bit of a confusing book because it's quoting doctors in the front cover and teachers on the inside cover, but I realized it's a parent's guide to Pokemon. So the front half of the book is for parents trying to explain what Pokemon is and what it's all about. Fact, collecting and playing games are two things nearly all kids love to do. Buy our stuff. So yeah, I'll hang on to that one for the moment to see if that's of any interest. I also found this news article from the local newspaper from, I guess, the peak of the Pokemon craze in the late 90s, so 1999, and they were doing a survey as to which Pokemon kids would vote as the top Pokemon. This was kind of in a big celebration for a contest the newspaper was running in relation to the first Pokemon movie coming out. I remember thinking that this was a very big deal at the time. In the box, I also found this weather book from 1929, so a very old book and a very detailed science piece. I don't know where I got this book or why I have it, but it was kind of neat to see. As for these ones, these are Eric Walters books, and when I was a kid, I don't know about other kids, but Eric Walters was a big deal at my school. He was such a big deal, they had him come to the school and he signed my book. These were the books that really made me fall in love with reading, I think, so I'm going to hang on to those. There was tons of other books in here as well that I was sorting through, and as I kind of went through, I went, whoa, wait a minute. A Star Trek The Next Generation kids book with Captain Picard at the Academy. I don't know. I thought that was kind of a neat piece there. Maybe that should be a TV series or something one of these days. There was these magic science books here, and of course, kind of carrying on, we have the Titanic. I was really into the Titanic, and of course, more Pokemon books as well. No kids' books collection from the 90s would be complete without the Hardy Boys paying a visit. And this was kind of like an encyclopedia for kids. It was like stuff the author thought the kids should know. And it's pretty random. I don't know how they chose what to put into this books. A few from Beatrix Potter, and then also a bunch of calendars. For some reason, I kept all my old calendars from the late 90s, early 2000s. So I ended up with, again, all these calendars. Here's the one I had for the year 2000. Some of the Dilbert ones came with special inserts, like these certificates. This one for having the greatest optimism despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Or this one for sticking it to those people who most deservedly need to be stuck. Or for doing the thing that sounds most impressive while doing the least amount of actual work. My 1997 calendar shows my priorities pretty clearly. I need to update my reading record every Friday for the rest of the year. Not to mention, Mr. Bean is on at 6 and at 9:30 every Friday. Don't miss it for sure. Make sure that's on the calendar. On Wednesdays in February, well, Star Trek Voyager is going to be on. Also, every Wednesday. Don't miss it. There was a bit of a collection of science books in here, and these two books, basically the same book, by the way, except for one of them has, I think, two extra Pokemon in it. So there's that. When I was younger, I also really, really liked Garfield. So I ended up amassing, through Christmases and birthdays, quite a few of these Garfield books, which I'll probably hang on to because I figure one of these days my kids will want something to read. Learn how to draw wings and wheels? Didn't do that. Some of this stuff is going to go in the trash. And the calendars, I'm going to sell those if they'll sell. If they don't, they're going in the trash. And as for the books, I'm going to sell some of them, but I'm also going to keep some of those for myself and also for my kids. So that's the story about the book box. If you want to see more of these boxes, be sure to like and subscribe.